the point of view change, for example, where you're shooting a film, you think about scenes and where to put the camera, we talk about shots, and it's different in VR because it's 360. So you have to start to think in sphere, like you're in a sphere.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because the point of view, it's on the audience part, they decided where to look. They decided,
Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of The Corner. My name is Zena Wood, and today I'm here with director Catalina Alarcón. She's currently with her team here in Amsterdam at the IDFA Doc Lab, and their project is part of the immersive non-fiction competition. I had the pleasure of visiting it on Sunday. It is absolutely incredible. The work that they're doing really is amazing, and I hope that you guys can watch this and also connect with their team after, because it's really awesome. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us, Catalina.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I came to the Doc Lab on Sunday and experienced the project. Was completely blown away.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was really nice to have your visit, and it's really beautiful to see, how people can relate to the VR. It's so different to some people. For some of them, it's the first time they put a headset on, so it's always really nice. What do you think?
I felt when I was doing it that it was like waves of different emotions, depending on what I was watching, obviously. And I'll go into that a little bit later as well. But as you know, I was super moved near the end. I wet your headset got wet with my
Most
tears.
of the people do, so no worries.
Yeah, I feel like you guys have to like use a tissue or
yeah,
something.
we used to have like a table with tissues, but we forget to put it this time, and it's just
Yeah. No, because it's incredibly moving, and I'm just so excited to talk about everything that Going Back Home Mother VR is doing, and what Going Back Home is doing. So if you could tell us a little bit more about the experience.
Yeah, so Going Back Home Mother VR is a 20 minutes virtual reality experience. It makes 360 videos with interactivity. Mm-hmm. So you have like the first part, it's like in the introduction or the presentation of the characters, these women and their stories. Mm-hmm. Then you get into a museum, which is a virtual museum with different objects that we model in 3D. And these objects are important to them, are related to their personal stories also, and you as a user, because we said user and not audience when you're talking about VR. That's a difference. Between films and VR and XR as well. So you take an object and you can listen the story that's related to that object. And at the same time, you're surrounded by this really beautiful animation that was made in 3D also with an application called Tilt Brush. So they did it actually in prison. We used the headset and the joystick, and you are able to paint in 3D. So they did it in our workshop as well. And then at the end, like the climax and the close of this beautiful project is the reunion, the virtual brief reunion, which is really significant to them. So that's what the project is about. Yeah. And here at IDFA, it's in the middle of this really cool installation. So it's the structure of a house that's surrounded by letters that are written by people in prison to their families. Yeah. And because we're from Chile, these letters are in Spanish. So we decided to put a plinth at the beginning of the house, like in the entrance, with a book. And this book has all the translation to English, so you can read the book and like get in the mood, and then get into the house, put the headset on, and watch the experience.
Yes, exactly. And this experience, the 360 video was done in a prison in Valparaiso, Chile.
Yes.
And that's where, you first filmed with women's families. Mm-hmm. And then in the prison, you give them access to the headset.
Yes.
And then they're reunited with their families, reunited virtually.
Yeah, exactly.
In the headset.
And yes. And it's really important to say that it's a co-creation process. We do it like in collaboration with them. it's not like us as filmmakers and artists doing a script or going there to shooting. It's just more like a process. And that's important because it's part of our organization called Volver a Casa, Going Back Home. It's an organization that works since 2016. So we've been doing these workshops. We started in 2016 and we never stop. Actually, I have to get back to Chile, and on Tuesday next week, I will go to do my workshop. So it's really cool because all the process, it's about collaboration and co-creation and the democratization of the access to technology also. So, all the scenes that you watch, it was decided by them. They were like, okay, I want to show to the world, like, me working in the kitchen of the prison, or like walking in the prison yard because that's the place that I like to be, or I don't know, that kind of things. And then exactly the same with the families. So it's really like different than a regular script writing process of an XR project.
Yes.
But at the same time, to us, it's like really important to do it like that in order of just allow them to do and say whatever they want.
Exactly. So I was speaking to Dani, your producer, and she mentioned that many of the people involved with the project are from traditional filmmaking backgrounds.
Yes.
You guys as well.
Yes.
So how was that switch with working on a VR project and basically changing some of the processes, etc.?
Yeah, so it's been we have to get involved into a lot of studying because my personal background is filmmaking. I'm a film director, script writer, so it's nothing like related with VR or even XR. So it involved a lot of studying and watching tutorials and know how the workflow of virtual reality works, and even in the beginning, like to know how the budget of the VR experiences cost and what do you need to invest and that kind of thing, So it's been a journey also to try to teach ourselves how to do it. I think we're still learning. Now I think I know more about new media, actually, and Dani also and we are teachers in universities, teaching people about new media and filmmaking also, but it's still a new world, and I think it's like that in the world too.
Definitely.
It's such an avant-garde thing, and it's every month there's a new update of the MetaQuest or the headset. So it's just something important, and it's been a process also regarding the workshops. How to connect all these tools, these new tools, with the territories, which is something important to us.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I find I'm also from the traditional filmmaking world, and I find that those skills are very transferable, obviously, into new media, So like your background about what a strong narrative is, where's the arc, what do we do? It all kind of, just gets transported to a different media.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's exactly that, but you have to add a lot of other like specific characteristics and the way, like the point of view change, For example, when you're shooting a film, you think about scenes and where to put the camera, We talk about shots, and it's different in VR because it's 360. So you have to start to think in sphere, like you're in a sphere.
Yeah.
You miss that part of filmmaking.
Yes.
Which is kind of cool because the point of view, it's on the audience part, They decided where to look. They decided, So when we were doing the script, we started thinking about the camera also. I got some lessons from this really cool VR. Well, it's like an XR institution in Germany. It was virtual lessons, but they teach me a lot about the name is the School of Machines. So
nice name.
Yeah, I know. I love it. So it's when they think about the script writing of virtual reality experiences, you have to think not just in the interaction of the characters with the environment, but also what is like around them, it's around them. So it's really particular in a way, what is in the front, you have to set that in the script in the front of Zena, it's Catalina, and Catalina, it's in front of a mic. You know, it's because
Exactly.
it's different than when if you put the camera, it doesn't matter what is behind, you know. But in this case, you have to think in everything.
Yeah.
So when we were in the prison doing the workshops, we teach them some of these tools so they will be aware of where to put the camera, and we decided together, and then we just like go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's amazing. This actually makes me think of the scene in the kitchen where they're all
Yeah.
cooking in the prison. And that scene I felt really grounded me in the space,
Yes.
because you see them in a space of a prison, and you see them doing something that's part of their routine, for
Yes.
instance. And then when it came to the part that was really emotional, where they got reunited with their families in the headset, you are so much more invested and so much more part of their world.
Yeah.
So I found that to be, it was also really, really human. And I
Yeah.
think what's so amazing about the way you guys are using a VR application is that it's so real. It's part of reality, you know, the whole argument about, you know, should we rather stay in the real world? Let's not go in the virtual world too much. That just falls away completely, because you're using this tool to have incredibly human experiences.
Yeah, that's the thing. We use it as a tool. You know, it's good to think about VR as a tool, not just media or It's amazing, and I think immersion could actually help a lot in these conditions. But actually, to use it for good, it's just so amazing. And about that scene that you're talking, it was really difficult to do it because all the spaces, like the locations in the prison are small, like really small. And when you're working with 360, you have to like learn about the focus distance. So if you put objects too close to the camera, you're gonna see like a huge object when you're in the headset.
Yeah.
So that happens sometimes in our short film, but it was just like that because, for example, the cells are really small, so we put the camera where we could. It was the same with the kitchen, but I think at the same time it makes you feel a little bit claustrophobic some way. Otherwise, it's like really open spaces and you feel free. So I think actually it helped to navigate the narrative. But at the same time, we had to think about a lot where, like, or where to put our camera in the different sets in the prison.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the experience, which is much more sensitive, but the experience with these women? It's they're obviously currently in the prison. You're dealing with a lot of emotion. You're dealing with people's lives, basically, and. Yeah, if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's really beautiful, actually. We always work like building a community first than doing our job. And I think that's important to remark because it's like this really safe place for everyone, even to us, in this really nasty, violent place. So it's like a bubble in the middle of this jungle, which is prison, and we really try to put a lot of effort to make them feel comfortable and respect first. And then we do what we know to do, virtual reality, filmmaking, and self-writing, and everything that you can name it. And so when you have that connection, you just start to build a bond, So it's just beautiful, to think about how we can actually have like a safe space in a place like prison, which is so different than that, So yeah.
And you're really doing a lot of work regarding. I mean, maybe you didn't even set out to do it. It seems like this is what I love about your organization too. Or your company as well. It seems like you didn't set out for this to happen, but it's like it's happening. So you're even restructuring how people speak about people in prison, for instance.
Yes, that was something that we learned a couple years ago, because the language is really important to us. When you talk about people in prison, you can say inmates, you can say felons, you can say different concepts that actually are correct. I mean, if you Google it, you're gonna find the description of that word. It's on the dictionary. But when you're part of this movement, you know, like empathy first or people first, that's exactly the thing that we're looking for. You know, we believe that they are people before their decisions or their bad decisions or their crimes even. So we always say people in prison, women in prison, men in prison, young offenders. You know, like first we put that characteristic, which is the most important thing. They're human beings first than their condition. You know, so yeah, it's really beautiful to think how language can actually like make a reality some way. Like,
Totally.
Or it affects how we see the world. So it's really important to us just to be pretty like conscious about that. And I think that's the reason, because I get nervous when I speak in English, because it's the same, but at the same time it's you have to be very wise when you choose your words.
Yeah, of course. So you in the headset, we are, as the user, reunited, or we see this beautiful moment between the women in prison and the family that they can't see.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about why they're not able to see their family?
Yes. So our current legislation is really tough in order of communication between the inside prison and the outside. When you are in prison, you cannot have a cell phone. It's something that it's illegal. So all the communications with the outside are forbidden. If you have a cell phone, it's gonna be an illegal cell phone. If you get caught with one, they will add a month to your sentence, and even years, from 12 months to 5 years more. So it's really disturbing and unfair and illegal in a way.
Yeah.
So the only way they have to keep the connection and maintain this bond with the families, with the visits, which are really denigrated. The security process is really tough. Sometimes you have to get naked. Most of the time you have to get naked in order of the security rules that they have. So they search in your clothes and in your body also. You have to sit into a machine that see if you have something inside you. It's really denigrated and traumatizing, I think.
Yeah.
And all the people have to pass for this process. Babies, older, like all the people. So it's just sometimes the mothers in prison doesn't want their daughters, you know, get naked before to get into the prison to visit them. So they prefer to just say, no, just don't come. We will figure it out. But that's sustainable in a short-term sentence. But what happens if you are going to spend there 10 years, 5 years, even 2 years? If you're a mother with 2 kids or with more, you know, it's just... it's so hard to live like that. So in that's the context. We know that prison is a violent place, that we know that it works like really bad, but this is like something so much deeper. It's so terrible, you know, that I don't know, we always thinking about what can we do about this, and because not all the people know that this works like this. It's different in every like country. In Chile, it works like that. Some of the prison has public phones, for example, are paying phones, but because are so old, sometimes it doesn't work really well. But actually, that could be like a good start to at least have something. But not all the prison has it. Valparaiso's prison doesn't have anything.
Wow.
So the women there has to wait to like if the social assistant has time and can borrow her computer, they can actually do a video call. So it depends of the will, the time of the authorities. So it's just unsustainable. It's just unfair and so incorrect, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So our project is like really disrupted in this case. It's like literally to like with a hammer just smash the wall and allow them to see what is outside. So it's beautiful in that way. It breaks this panopticon, state of what is happening in prison, and it really connects them with the outside. But it's not something permanently. We do it once, and yes, it's like once per semester. It's like one workshop per semester, and we do it every year in different prisons. But it would be great they had, the right to talk with their families every day if they want to, Some of them are, for example, some of the participants of our workshop, they told me last week, because I did my last workshop before I came here, and they were like, we don't care about this new law that adds years to our sentence. There's no way I'm going to stop talking with my daughter.
Yeah.
I will figure it out how to do it. And I will hide better my phone. Yeah. But there's no way I'm not going to talk with my son to see if he has fever, or to tell my daughter to go to school and finish her assignments. That kind of thing that are so necessary and important. Most of these women are like the only relative, like the only grown-up in their families. Yeah. So they are like a group of kids outside with nobody taking care of them, and they cannot have contact with her mother. It's just so unfair. So yeah,
thank you so much for letting us in on that. When I was in the headset, something that came to me that I hadn't thought of before was the difference between women in prison and men in prison, right? And because a lot of the scenes where they're reunited with their families in the headset, they're kids, right? It's their kids showing them how to skate, or like showing them the dance, or and this feeling that I can instinctively feel of like a mother needing to know how it's going, or that's completely taken away. I think I would argue to a much bigger extent than for a man. I'm sure it'll come up for a man too, but a mother is a mother, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It seems that to treat the situation the same for everyone is not logical at all.
No, and even with men, because we do this workshop with men, women, and youth, and it's always the same. There's always a family outside waiting. It's always a grandmother, a mother that has 70 years old that goes every week or every week to visit or try to visit their relatives in prison. So even with men, it's really hard. But yes, you're right. With women, it's like they have this triple sentence. So you are judged by the society, and then you are judged by the court, for legal reason, and then just to be a woman and a bad mother. So it's a lot. They have a lot on their shoulders, and the number of women that are in prison is less than the men in compares. And they don't receive a lot of visitors into prison. Most of the people that go to prison are women also, like their mothers. Who visit. Yes. Yeah. So their mothers, their daughters, their sisters. So sometimes it happens that if you're in prison, if you're a man, of course your mother is going to visit you. But if you're a woman, you're in prison, maybe that's not going to happen just because you're a woman. And society, even your family, judge it differently. Yeah. So this really disconnect world relating to women in prison, that's so tough,
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. So what for you as a director was challenging in this process? Because of course you're coming at it from the technical standpoint, which of course, and then you're coming at it as like a human. And maybe someone also who wants to help this process and not like harm it as well. Yeah. So how is that for you, that whole combination of things?
Yeah, I think the first thing that is in my mind right now, listening to your question, is like my mental health and the mental health of my team.
Yes.
It's been tough because we're talking about really deep issues and emotions and unfair situations happening all the time. We are working in this institution, in the prison institution, or the prison system, and we know the rules. We have to stick to the rules, but sometimes you really want to just flip up the table. It's
Right.
like, this is so unfair, but we know that we need to stick to the rules in
Yes.
order to, they open the gates to us.
Of course. And I mean, your
Yeah.
project flips the table, right?
Yeah,
So,
I
like,
think it's doing that
yeah,
too. But
within the rules.
yeah, exactly. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's really frustrated.
Yeah.
Because we know that they receive a lot of violence inside prison, sometimes torture, sometimes like real torture. Sometimes they don't have access to water. Sometimes they are stuck in a confinement cell, which is something inside prison. If you do something wrong inside prison, they put you in a special cell, which is smaller than the regular ones. They don't have access to water. They don't see sunlight in a lot of hours. So it's like, it really frustrated us just to be part of that. We listen a lot of stories, and it's beautiful in a way because you're sharing all the time, but at the same time, it's like, what a bad world, what a world where we're living, right now. It's so weird. So that's like the first thing, we've been dealing with that, and we all are we're all doing therapy and, like
Keeping.
trying to drain all out of our system. And I think something that really works to me is just to keep working on it. Not just doing the workshop, but also trying to build a network of social reintegration. And when the participants or ex-participants of our workshops go out of prison, contact them and have lunch with them, and and knowing what they're doing, trying to help them to specialize in some bakery course, or I don't know.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so I think that's good. It's the bright side of everything, and I like to I try to be positive about it, but it's hard.
Yeah.
It is really hard. That's the first problem that we have related to our project. And then, of course, is technology, because in prison they have these machines that cut all the networks existing in that environment.
Right.
So they cannot use their phones or their network phones. Actually, it works. It's still working. Even if you have a phone, you can still go into Instagram, but it's not going to work really well. It's a little bit slow.
Right.
So regarding to VR, most of this headset work with internet, with a network working. So it's at the beginning we were really we are not sure if we're going to be able to do this project actually. And nobody knew at that time. That was 2016. And in Chile, a Latin American country, that technology just arrived. And it was a challenge, just to figure it out, the workflow, and if it's going to work. And it did work, but it was a lot of try and then made mistakes and then tried again. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So you're currently here at IDFA with your world premiere.
Yes.
And I saw the installation, the house and everything. It's really beautiful. So could you tell me, you mentioned that it's like a full circle moment. Mm-hmm. So what is that about?
So in 2019, we came here to Amsterdam to present our project in a section called Forum, the IDFA Forum from the Doc Lab section. The Forum is a place where you can present an idea or a project in development to an audience that is full with people that could eventually be able to finance you. So it's like decision makers and NGOs sometimes, and curators and museums, and all these really important people related to the filmmaking industry and XR industry. So we present Going Back Home Mother BR in 2019, and it was really cool because in that time there was this really important like social movement in our country. We were trying to change the constitution, and it started in October 18 in 2019, and we arrived here in November of that year. So it was really like
November 2019.
Yes, exactly.
That's so crazy. I was in Valparaiso in October 2019.
For the social outbreak?
Just before.
Oh, wow.
So we left. I lived there for a month and left the day before it happened.
No.
And then the friends that we made there and stuff were sending us videos and everything.
It was crazy.
Such a crazy time.
Yeah, it was really violent, and the police was everywhere, and it was a really sad moment for the history of our country, and it didn't end well. Actually, we couldn't change the constitution that was written in the dictatorship, and so we arrived here with that feeling, that they're killing all our people in Chile, and this new constitution can actually open a space of dialogue between society and people in prison, So it was a really important moment. And so we present our project in this forum. We talk about the social situation as well, and how it is so important to empathize with this kind of themes, and with invisible places, and with invisible places, and maybe just with society in general. And it was really good. We got good feedback, we got really good meetings, and then we got back to Chile, and the pandemic kicked in 2020.
Yeah.
So we had to wait a little bit, and it was really hard to us, because, as I said, to me, it's really important to do this workshop. I'm really related, not just with my work, but with these people, they're like my family. So I was really worried. The health system in the prison, it doesn't work well. So, but they know how to survive. They learn how to survive this place. So at least the participant of our workshop managed to just...
It's great to hear.
Yeah. But it was hard. And then we got back to prison. We shoot our film, and...
That was in 2021.
Yes, 2021, at the beginning of 2021. We did the post-production with a really amazing team. We decided to work with an editor that is amazing, Titi Vieragallo. Her background is filmmaking also. She's an editor of really cool documentaries. But for her, it was all like this new world. She never used a headset before, so I arrived to her office with my headset, and she was like, "What is this?" Like, she started screaming, and I shoot a video. She was like, "Don't put this on social media." And I was like, it's already on my Instagram story. So, it was so cool to get this process together, and she has such a good vision. And I think you can sense that in the editing of the film. And we work with really cool post-production team as well. So in the case of the post-production, the sound post-production, we work with Sonamos, which is a really cool and important company regarding to sound post-production in Chile. And they use this really amazing technique called Atmos. So they use it in different films, but actually this was the first time using it in a virtual reality experience. So it was really amazing to work with the team and to think how the sound can actually surround the audience,
Wow.
So it was everything was like amazing. And then the programmer and 3D world designer, Paola, she's like the best hacker, programmer, designer, woman that I can ever met. She was so cool, and she's like this really crazy, amazing nerd. Like, she's in her computer doing the script of the programming and everything. I remember that once I was shooting a video of her code, and she was like, "Codes are important, you cannot shooting." And I was like, "But it looks so cool. It looks like Matrix,
Yes, exactly.
Let me have a video, She's so cool and amazing. All the virtual world and environment was made by her and her team.
Nice.
So, yes, it was just a mix of good people working in this project. And also someone really important to mention too, it's Maria Kurt. She's we have two producers, Dani Camino and Maria Kurt. So yeah, it's been a journey. We did the shooting with this really cool team works team too, like Jorge Acevedo in the sound designer and in the direct sound shoot too, and then Emilia Martin, which is the director of photography. She also, her background is filmmaking, you know, like, but it was really amazing just to work with her and thinking about how to like work with these women in prison too, but how to think with the camera in a 360 way, you know, like how to change the point of view of the image. And then the sound operator, Jorge Acevedo, he was also really related to film. He's related to filmmaking, but he started to think like, okay, maybe we can put more microphones in different places of the set, so you can actually have that sense of immersion, even regarding the sound. So it was like a really beautiful process. And then we got the call from IDFA, and they were like, we want you to premiere your film with us. So it was like this really beautiful full circle moment, you know, so we start there.
Yes. And you got that call in this year, right?
This year, yes. And it was amazing because we thought it would be like a chair and a headset and that's it. But then they were like, no, we need to do an installation.
Amazing.
So we sent a proposal with all the ideas that we had. It was in my head, and it was a lot. So they cut some things, a lot of things, but then the idea of the structure of a house emerged, and they sent it to us, and I saw the 3D model of the house, and I was like, whoa. I sent it to my parents. I was like, look, they're gonna build a house to us. You know, how cool can this is?
It's amazing.
Just,
the house really, really adds to it. It's the user, as you'll see, it sits in the middle, and then all the letters from the people in prison are in the frame of the house.
It's beautiful. Actually, it's 168 letters, which is a lot. The former workshop that we're running right now is in Valparaiso's prison with women in prison also. And we told them, like, we are going to premiere in IDFA. This project was made a couple years ago with people that is still here. Some of the women are outside living their lives as free women, which is beautiful. And they were really like, oh, yes, we need to write some letters too. So we did an activity so they can write letters to their families. And we send those letters to the family, but then we scan it. And those are part of the installation as well. So It's really beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So going back home, Mother VR is currently at the IDFA Doc Lab, and you've obviously got a lot of people coming in and experiencing it. Could you tell me a little bit about some of the reactions that you've been getting?
Yeah, it's been a while, actually. Like, a lot of people watch our film. It's still in the Doc Lab. It's going to be there until November 19. And the reactions are amazing. I feel so transformed in a way after all of this process. It's been so beautiful to see how people react. I was a little bit worried actually before I arrived here because it's a different culture, it's a different audience. You know, we test this project in Chile in a work in progress in this really cool festival called Ñuble Cine, Festival de Cine Ñuble in the south of Chile. And the answer of the audience was really emotional as well. A lot of people cried, and it was beautiful. So I was like, how is it going to be in Amsterdam?
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. It's a completely different, like you said, culture, audience. People have different perspectives.
Exactly. So, but it's really the same.
It's
like,
amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people cries, and it opened a space to talk about their personal stories.
Wow.
How they relate to this theme, how to relate to, missing someone, or sometimes it's more about like their family. Sometimes actually it's about prisons, and it's really beautiful just to be there and see them taking the headset off and then like start talking about whatever they want. I love to be in there and see how they react. So it's been really beautiful, really moving, really exhausted at the same time because it's a lot happening. But it's so beautiful, just to be there. It's some like small stories to share. This guy came and read the book that we put in the front of the house with the translation of the letter and start crying just reading the letters. He was so emotional. And then another one that this woman take the headset off and she started crying. She was like, I'm really emotional about this because I'm pregnant. And we were like, wow, that kind of things that it actually talk about us as human beings.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the whole thing. I keep tying it back to like just how human this project is. And it really like connects globally to everyone. Mm-hmm. And on that note, I'm sure it informs the work that you're currently doing as well, and also what you might do in the future. Mm-hmm. What's next?
So we know that we have a really like powerful piece in our hands. So we want to reach decision makers in Chile. We want to reach the president of our republic right now, Gabriel Boric. I think we are in a good moment in a political state, and actually we have the access to reach them. And what we wanted to do is an impact campaign. Yeah. So not only to take this piece to more festivals, like film festival and XR festivals and maybe museum, but also, which is more important to us, is to get back to the territories, to different communities and maybe to more prisons, not only in Chile, maybe the world, and to reach these really important people like politicians, decision makers, even the president, to try to, to understand what is happening inside prison, but at the same time, actually make a change. Yeah. Maybe small changes first, like put a public phone in Valparaiso's prison, that would be great. And then maybe the law, it's not something really crazy. It's like a lot. It means a lot of work of our team, but I think this is such a powerful piece that I can sensibilize people about prison and women in prison especially.
Yes. And you were discussing this at one of the IDFA forums on Monday, right?
Yes.
As well.
Yes. We got this talk called The Art of Resistance. So we talk about the campaign too and how important it is to actually trying to make change in the society with our work. Yeah. So to us, filmmaking and XR creation is always related to society, and that's why we work, and that's what we do, just to trying to do a difference.
Yeah. Catalina, where can people find you and follow your work?
Yes, so if you can put a text.
Yes.
So we have Instagram account, it's Volver a Casa BR. You're gonna able to see it if you're watching us. And we have a website at this volveracasa.org, and our personal accounts are available too. We're always reachable. We really want to grow our network. I think it's important to say it because this project, it has the ability to be replicable. You can do it in different parts if you want to. So that's an idea that we have too. So I don't know, if you there are listening and this resounds to you, just write us an email or something. It's really important to us just to spread the word.
Thank you so much. I had an amazing time with you. I wish you guys all the best for the future. I know it's going to be very bright.
I hope so, and thank you so much for having me.